Welcome to another video, and today I'm gonna talk about the worst spots you can stand in Valorant. In this video I'm gonna focus on some spots that most people think are good but have some issues. So I'm not gonna talk about some obvious bad spots like over here on Breeze or over here on Bind. I mean, use your brain, my friends, you have them. Also, not all of these spots are bad, some can be used situational, but you have to know the flaws. And also, if you didn't know already, the Lowlander Easy Peasy merch is out, so if you want to get yours, click on the link in the description. Anyway, let's start the video. So the first spot I want to talk about is behind the yellow container as the defending side. And I immediately have to admit, I use this spot a lot myself. But there's one major issue by standing over here. If the enemies are not pushing B and they are rushing A, for example, the rotation time is extremely long. 24 seconds to be exact. So when the enemies are going A, your teammates have to fight a long time without you. And also, when you get spotted and 5 people are rushing you, it's hard to get away from the container because they will just kill you. So a tip, stand a little bit closer to the A side, for example over here, if your teammates is holding mid of course. Or stand behind the yellow box at the start of the round, but if you don't see an enemy within 5 seconds, go back, hold the side more defensively, and when you get more information about where the enemies are, you don't have to rotate a half around. So the next spot I'm gonna talk about are actually 3 spots that are exactly the same. I'm talking about the big boxes at the left or the right from a tight entrance. You have them on split, bind and ascent. There's really just one major flaw with these spots, there's no way out. So if the enemies are pushing and one enemy spots you, you're most likely not gonna make it. But these spots can get you some sneaky kills. This is how you abuse it. First, don't use them in gun rounds because that's a waste of your gun. However, in eco rounds or half buy rounds, you can go for the sneaky play like this. And another tip, it works best with agents that have an escape. For example, over here on split, when the enemies are placing a wall and you make a kill, you can easily dash over the wall with jet and get safe. Good luck with getting those sneaky peeky kills. And the next one is on Breeze, but it's not actually one spot, but it's the way most of the time people are standing. What I often see is one player mid, one player tunnel, and then either 1B and 2A or 2B and 1A. This is in my opinion not the best way to hold on Breeze. See, holding mid window all by yourself is very hard to do. If you stand on the left side and look towards mid, you can already get peeked from 2 angles. And you can't even see the door towards A side. While on the other hand, if you stand on the right side of the window, you can only see the door and not elbow. So my advice, never play one guy mid if you don't have a smoke or something. A setup I like is one guy over here to look at elbow, and the other one in tunnel to look at mid, but also be backup on B side. That's teamwork, my friends. So the next spot is on split. What I see a lot of people are doing, for example Killjoys, is just setting their setup and then camp on the backside of B. You have to be very careful if you are standing over here. The problem is that if the enemies are pushing you and you don't have an escape, for example Jet or Omen teleport, you can't get out. So what the enemies are gonna do, they're gonna wallbang you or even push you with 5 people and just kill you.
Got him, blind.
So what I would recommend is stand on the other side. This way you can still fall back if you see or hear enemies. And even better, instead of peeking into a garage, stand over here behind the box. A lot of lower elo people are just peeking into 5 enemies and dying. Just give the enemies control over the first part of B side. Stand behind the box, hopefully one enemy walks into your crosshair, kill them and then immediately fall back. You have cover in like 1 second. Very nice, my friends. But about peeking into 5 people, there's also this spot in mid vent. When you are standing in mid vents, a lot of people are peeking all the way to the end of middle. And this is dangerous, my friends. Be careful. You're better off standing a little bit more to the left and giving the enemies control over deep mid. This way there's a higher chance you will survive and be useful for your team. And also you can set up a nice crossfire with your teammate holding B heaven. So this next spot is really just a do or die. I'm talking about the little corner in front of the stairs on ascent. And yeah, what can I say? I think everybody who got a brain, and you, my viewer, of course you got a brain, knows that this spot is not very good. You don't have a way out and enemies can easily throw things like nades in. But still, I won't throw this spot in the bin. You can use this spot to get sneaky kills in an eco round, for example. Personally, I don't use it, and if you use it, feel free to send a clip in the Discord. Very cool, my friends. But enough about this spot, let's look at this neighbor. The control room is one of those spots that doesn't look like a bad spot, but actually is. Wherever you stand in a control room, you can always be seen from 2 different angles. So I would recommend to only use this spot to close the door, or if you are sure where the enemies are. Another spot I personally don't really like is on the backside of Fracture. The problem is that you don't really have a way out if the enemies are all pushing you. Especially when the enemies are smoking, you don't have any backup from your teammates. So be careful when standing over here by yourself. Quick tip, when you are playing Chamber, this is a good spot because you can easily place your teleport down and when things go bad, you can just and go away. This next one is about all the windows or heavens you have on the different Valorant maps. All in all, these are pretty good spots, but they have one major flaw. One end of the window is most likely a dead end. So if you are standing on one of these spots, you don't want to stand on that side of the window. People are gonna use nades, arrows, or of course wallbang, and you don't have anywhere to go. Sometimes you have to stand on one side of the window to see a certain spot. For example, over here on Fracture if you want to look to satellite. But even then, most of the time you are better off standing a little bit in the middle of window, so if the enemies are seeing you, you can still walk away the safe route. This way, no race grenade on your bakkes, my friend. Very nice. And also, if you're holding nest from nest in the post plant, never stand on the right side. There are tons of better spots. I just wanted to mention this real quick. Now let's talk about two agents in specific, and that's Jet and Chamber. These two agents are special because they can go away instantly. So why is this in a worst spots video? Well, if you're holding an operator with one of these two agents, don't stand in the classic operator spots. You can be way more aggressive and stand, for example, all the way in the open so the enemies don't expect you there, and when you miss your shot or hit your shot, dash away immediately. Or find new spots overall. For example, over here on Haven. With Jet, instead of standing behind the box, go to the wooden pallets, jump on top of the big box, and then jump on these boxes in the back of sight. From here you are shooting the enemies from an off angle. They won't expect you there. So you have enough time to get out one shot and then just dash away. Well, on the other hand, if you are playing, for example, Omen, never stand over here because you don't have a way out. Also, if you like this video this far, feel free to give it a like or subscribe, and maybe we can finally reach more subscribers than Pet Ninja, my friends. Now let's continue. This next thing I learned from a Radiant coach. It's about standing in corners.
When I'm holding this, do you like recommend to hold it like this?
No,
Wait till the
never
flash?
all the way in the corner. Because if you're all the way in the corner, people from the far angle can see you before you can see them.
And this is very true. He's talking about peak advantage. Let's go to the same corner on Icebox. If you stand all the way in the corner, the enemies with a further angle can see you first. And besides that, enemies that are pushing you are most likely gonna pre-shoot you. Because they think you are there, they already have their crosshair on top of your head. While on the other hand, you don't know exactly when the enemies are going to push. So for you, it's all about your reaction time. So in conclusion, when you are camping in a corner, don't stand exactly in the corner, but stand in the corner with a small angle. One exception, when you are eco and you want to gamble if the enemies are going to walk past you. In that case, then you can hide in the corner and just pray the enemy doesn't see you. Now let's talk about one specific corner, over here on Haven. I see a lot of people standing all the way in this corner and then crouching or standing up. Don't do this, my friends. There's one wallbang, this one. I've got so many kills with this wallbang. So after watching this video, you don't die anymore on the spot, you only make wallbang kills. Easy peasy, my friend.
Anyone else?
If you like to stand in hookah, whatever you do, avoid this corner. From this corner you can easily look towards mid, but there's one major flaw. It doesn't matter how you push hookah, every time that someone pushes hookah, this is the first spot they see. This means that their crosshair is probably already on your head when they are pushing you. But if you really like to defend from hookah, you're better off standing behind this box over here, or stand on the left even though you don't have a way out. Because now when the enemies are pushing, you won't be the first target they see, because they have to check the left and the right. Big brain, my friends. And now I want to talk about spot where I personally died the most, and that's on ramp. When you are standing on ramp, be careful with peeking over here. I would say 9 out of 10 times it will get pre-shoot by the enemy, and you don't want that, my friends, so be careful. And this was the last spot. I hope you learned something during this video. Be careful with using these spots, and I hope I see you in the next one. Peace. Check out Easy Peasy merch.